The war on free speech takes on many shapes and forms and can originate from many different places, including those who seem to champion free speech. We have been able to say pretty much anything in this country as long as it was in the right context and had a prevailing point to its usage. Now, you can't even talk about entire topics because it might be too spicy for some people or reveal too much about another. It was called a difference of opinion, and we used to have it in this country. And now, forget what you have to say about a certain topic. Even bringing some things up in general can be cause for removal from your job, depending on who you upset. Loud noises! This isn't going to be an examination of those topics. This is merely me giving you examples of how the establishment elite kill individuals' free speech without ever having to deal with the pesky Constitution and your rights as an American. Hey folks, your resident man in black is back again for a new edition of the best kept secret in the conservative movement, things that need to be said. For MRC-TV, I'm Kangadis. Really quick, head on over to Rumble, subscribe to our channel, and hit that like button. And no matter where you watch our videos, please share, like, and don't be afraid to leave a comment. I actually read what you guys have to say, and I occasionally respond, so don't be shy. Now, on with the show. The powers that be do everything they can to prevent anyone that isn't in their cult from speaking their mind to a point that it begins to aid in people's questioning of their motives, narratives, and agendas. Obviously, freedom of speech is ingrained in our Constitution. We're the only country to have that right baked into our laws. Heck, look at Canada, for example. If you're part of an organic protest of truckers voicing their displeasure over authoritarian edicts, they call you a Nazi.
Freedom of expression, assembly, and association are cornerstones of democracy, but Nazi symbolism, racist imagery, and desecration of war memorials are not. It is an insult to memory and truth. Hate can never be the answer.
Despite the country's leaders giving standing ovations to literal Nazis.
We have here in the chamber today Ukrainian-Canadian war veteran from the Second World War who fought the Ukrainian independence against the Russians and continues to support the troops today, even at his age of 98.
If you're a world-renowned clinical psychologist and you refuse to adhere to the government's speech restrictions, you're mandated to undergo re-education training. And if you dare try to practice your religion while the government places its thumb over your rights, you're arrested and jailed. But that's Canada. In the US, our authoritarians aren't as overt in their hatred of free speech being used by anyone but them. Instead of telling people that they can't say certain things or talk about certain topics, they'll come up with some reason or reasons, sometimes fabricated, to discredit individuals who actually use free speech to speak freely about what said authoritarians are doing to the populace. Buy a supremely corrupt social media platform and try to reform it so that people, for the most part, are allowed to speak freely on most topics? Well, all of a sudden a government agency will file a lawsuit against you to make it seem like something untoward is going on at that platform. Funny how those powers never question anything when it benefits them, like during an election. Shut up and do what you're told. Or try bringing up inconsistencies when it comes to viruses and the pharmaceutical companies who made billions off of drugs that were supposed to prevent certain infections, only to discover they really only mitigate effects of the contaminant for people in certain age brackets. Well, the media will be tasked with classifying you as a serial sexual assaulter from 10 to 20 years ago, when back then they applauded your promiscuous exploits. Shut up and do what you're told. If sometimes in indirect ways you assisted in the promotion of certain candidates that aren't part of the establishment elite, despite being praised by them as an entertainer and rapped about in songs as if you were the representation of what it is to be wealthy, well, big tech will collude to try and remove you from being able to run your business. They will collude in concert with one another, and you will be labeled an extremist. Shut up and do what you're told. You could simply be a congressman doing what you think is right based on agreements that were broken, and they'll try and label you a pedophile. Shut up and do what you're told. Or you could just be an independent journalist who holds a nightly podcast featuring people that firmly believe in free speech, even if they don't agree with each other. They will repeatedly harass you and try to get your podcast shut down through making false police reports about the building you're housing said podcast in. Shut up and do what you're told. And here's the thing. You don't have to agree with any of these people. You could vehemently disagree, but you don't have the right to prevent them from saying what they're saying as long as it puts no one in danger. And trust me, that's why they call most of us extremists who believe in our right to speak freely. If we're all extremists, then it doesn't matter what we say. They can more easily shut us down simply for housing a label that was thrust upon us from less than reputable people.
I'm scum of the earth.
They'll call you misinformation or disinformation, and the only thing you can do is attempt to defend yourself on whatever platform they haven't yanked you off of yet. You don't have to like it. It's simply the truth. Well, maybe it's time for these persecuted individuals to say, it doesn't matter what you do to me. I'll find a way to say what I want, and there isn't a damn thing you can do about it. If you're not harming anyone, or you're simply saying your opinion, or fact in a lot of cases, don't be afraid to find somewhere else to say it.
I'm not afraid anymore! Do you hear me? I'm not afraid anymore!
The squelching of free speech is the end game in the establishment's years of practicing political correctness. You can't say climate change doesn't exist. You can't say certain medicines don't work. You can't say the government is doing something bad. You can't talk about certain events in ways that contradict what they've already indoctrinated most people with. You can't have an opinion on anything, particularly conflict, without getting the okay from people that pretend to know better than you.
They don't.
You just can't. You know why? Because they figured out a corporate way to take away your freedom of speech without violating their oaths of office to uphold and defend the Constitution from all enemies, foreign and domestic. And you don't have to like it. It's simply the truth. So, how long until I get canceled? Or were these simply things that needed to be said? Let me know what you think in the comments, where I do read most and reply to some. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel on Rumble and hit that like button. If you liked this video, don't forget to share, comment, and give it a thumbs up. Those are the best ways to help these videos reach more people, and it's the best way to let us know you want us to keep these videos coming. Subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so that YouTube might actually let you know when MRC-TV comes out with a new video if they haven't censored or taken it down yet. Like us on Facebook. Check out more of our work at MRCTV.org. And if you want to support our content and the conservative movement, head on over to MRC.org/donate to help us out, since we're a nonprofit and couldn't do what we do without all of you. For MRC TV, I'm Nick Kangadis.